All right, so we're doing this lesson for 2.5 measures of position. We're going to start by looking at quartiles. I'm going to define for you what quartiles are and show you how to use StatCrunch to help you get the quartiles. I am going to use this first example. We've got a set of data. To find quartiles, you are first going to want to put the numbers in order. Now remember, probably for testing purposes and probably homework purposes too, the data sets will not be too large. I think this has 15 numbers in this data set, so 15 numbers is not a huge set of data. But if you're talking about 5,000 pieces of data, you definitely want to use StatCrunch or some other statistics calculator. But I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, and then we're going to have a very, very, very serious talk about StatCrunch because StatCrunch chewed up 3 hours of my life last night trying to figure out how it was doing these calculations. So it's kind of whack. But anyway, so here's the general rule. You know how to find the median. Quartile 2, and quartile, think of the root word, please. Okay, quartile. Quart, that's a root right there meaning 4. Okay, so when we're talking about quartiles, we're talking about dividing this set of numbers into 4 parts. And the quartiles are going to be the middle number. So this middle number right here, and I'm going to go to my document camera because I have this and I'm going to want to write on it. So this set of data right here, when they divided up, sorry about the shadow, when they divided up this quartile 2 right here, remember, is also called the median. We've already learned how to do that. So it's just got 2 names. I have 2 names. My students call me Professor Burkett, but my son calls me Mom. So, depending on the context of the question, could determine, what you call this number for this set of data. When we're doing measures of central tendency, we would call it a median. If we're doing quartiles, we call it Q2. Now, StatCrunch is going to call it median all the time. So there's not a Q2 on StatCrunch, but we'll see that in just a second. So we put the numbers in order and we went, here's the smallest, the biggest, and we just worked our way back until we found the actual middle number. So that one got labeled quartile 2, called the median. Then we took the numbers in front of the median or Q2 and we grouped them together. Okay, this is I call this the lower half, and we call it the lower half because all of these numbers are smaller than this one right here, or the same size, but they're in the lower half or the first half of the data set. And then we do the exact same thing. We find the median. So we went to the middle of the first half a number. That's what Q1 is. Okay. This is the last half of the numbers, so we go to the middle of that one, and that's where we find Q3. Now remember, I am going to assume that from this data right here, the amounts of fuel wasted of the 15 largest urban areas are listed. It's not all urban areas, it's just 15 of them. So this is probably a sample. So I'm going to write down that the sample size right there is 15. This number is going to be pretty important here in just a second. But I think you would all agree with me that so far this is not a difficult task. You find one big group of numbers, you find them, put them in order, you find the middle number, then you look at the first half of those numbers, find the middle of it, then you look at the last half, find the middle of that. Pretty easy. Again, I am going to show you how to do it on StatCrunch. So you're going to run over here. Let me see, StatCrunch. Notice I have those numbers already in here. So you can take a minute, pause the video, type the numbers in on StatCrunch, and then I'll show you what to do. I've got some other numbers in here because we're going to talk about those in just a second. But right now, all we're worried about right here is the one that's in VAR1 list. All right, so you're going to hover over Stat, and it's going to give you the drop down menu. You go to summary stats and you go over to columns. We're going to use these settings a lot. You press that. Since I have several sets of numbers right here, I want to be sure that they do this for the correct data set, and it's in variable 1, so I'm going to choose variable 1. These options already came selected, but if you'll scroll down here, you'll see Q1 right there. So I'm going to pick Q1. Now, I'm using a PC, so a Windows operating system. If you're using a Mac, this may not be the same, but I want it to find more than one thing at the same time. You couldn't just have it find Q1 and then have it find median, but I don't want to have to go through that process every time, so I want it to find all of them. I've already got Q1 selected, so find median, because that's going to be Q2, but before you click on it, hold the control key down. Hold the control key down, and it's going to select both Q1 and median. And then scroll down to Q3, hold the control button down, and press Q3. It has to be the control button. If you try to use shift, I think it includes everything between median and Q3. It'll put it all up there. Okay, so I have the 3 things selected. That's the only thing you have to worry about. You come down here and you push compute, and then it gives you 23, 25, 30, which is exactly what we got right here, 23, 25, 30. Okay, so easy peasy, right? All right, well, let's go here. Let's do this set of data. Okay, well, the first thing that you notice is that my data set, it's just a sample. And so there's 8 numbers in my data set, okay? How is that different from this example right here? Well, this is an odd number and this is an even number. So when I go to find the middle, there is no middle. So you guys know that what we have to do right here, we have to average these two. And when we average those two, we get 4.5. We say 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So 4.5 is my Q2, or my median. Okay? So when that happens, you still do the same thing we did a while ago. You go ahead and you put the first half of numbers and the second half of numbers, because the Q2 was right there in between those. So all of these go in the first half, all of these go in the last half, just like we did right here. They left the Q2 out. We're leaving the Q2 out. The Q2 is 4.5, and then we put the last group together and the first group together. And again, in each piece right here, we've got we don't have an exact middle number. We have to average these two. So average those two, you end up with 2.5, which is Q1. And then same thing right here. We find the middle. Well, there's not a middle, so you have to average these two. And when you average those two, you get 6.5. Add them together and divide by 2, and that's your Q3. Okay, so when you have an even set of numbers, it works kind of the same, but a little bit differently, because you have to average in all cases to get your Qs, your Q1, Q2, your quartiles. Okay, so if I run back over now to StatCrunch, oh, what happened? Oh, scooted over. So here is the data set right here that we just worked with. It's an even set of numbers. We worked with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I go over here and hover over stat, go down to summary stats, go over to columns, select columns. This set of numbers is in var 3 list. And I'm going to come down here and do the exact same thing. I want to find Q1. Then I hit, go up here. Before I hit median, I'm going to hit control and then median, and then control and hit Q3. Compute, and voila, it gives me the exact same Q1, 2.5, 4.5, and 6.5. So I'm thinking that, oh, we've got this figured out. We've looked at how to handle an odd set and how to handle an even set. Okay, so let's go and do one more example. I think I've got time to fit it in on this video. We're going to go and do one more example, and it's on this note page down here. Let me see if I can, I'm having to slide my paper. Okay, there we go. So I've got this set of data. Okay, I'm going to do it the same way that I've been doing it. Okay, this time my data set has 9. 9 is an odd number. There's 9 numbers, okay? And so when I work it back to find the middle, this one right here is my median. It's Q2. And if I do it like I have been doing in the past, then I leave Q2 right here. I put these numbers in a group. This is the first group, this is the last group. And now I've got an even number of numbers, so I go to the middle. We've done this before. So this comes out to be 2.5, and go to the middle right here, and this would come out to be 7.5. So I say these are my Q1, Q2, and Q3s. All right, now I'm going to go to StatCrunch. And I've got numbers 1 through 9 over here. I'm going to go to Stat, Summary Stats, Columns, and pick columns. This time it's in VAR5 list. I'm going to go down to Q1, select Q1, go up to median, hit the control button, then select median. Scroll down to Q3, hit the control button, and then select Q3 and compute. And they tell me that Q1 is 3, the median and 5, and Q3 is 7. Remember, on paper, we got 2.5, 5, and 7.5. StatCrunch got 3, 5, and 7. So on this example, StatCrunch calculated the same thing we did. On this example, which was the first one that we did over here, StatCrunch calculated the same thing that we did. And on this example, StatCrunch is calculating something different. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now because it's running kind of long, but I'm going to explain to you at the beginning of the next video what StatCrunch is doing and what you can do about it, okay?